All right, I'm coming to you guys. I just wanted to talk a little bit about graduation. You can see my degrees on the back over there on the wall. 3 in counting, and that's just because I got 2 associate's degrees from community college. I started right out the gate out of high school at Howard University. I got accepted to Howard, was so excited to go there. Family, everybody was so proud just to be able to say, she's going to Howard. I was not prepared for college though. There was a lot that happened in my life, and just as a teenager, and I didn't have the tools I needed, nor was I in the right mindset. That's a lot of freedom. Long story short, I just struggled with mental health, and I ended up doing fine the first semester, but the second semester getting all F's. Actually, to be transparent, right? I stopped going to class. I was having fun, but I really was just so depressed that I was fighting to try to make it through. And I think I shared in previous videos, I didn't plan on living past 18. That was not my plan. So once I was at 18, I was like, we here, what do I do? All right, right? And so I did have to come back home, and I wrote an appeal to Howard. They were willing to accept me back if I went to community college and got a semester full of A's. So I took a summer course. I took algebra. Never really been strong in math. I took a math course, and I did pass that. I think I want to say I got a B. Yeah. And then when it came for the fall semester, I just wasn't there. I was struggling with mental health. I wasn't in a position to take school seriously and put it at the forefront because I was struggling so much with my mental. So also dealing with all the feelings of, wow, everybody was so proud that you got into Howard. People was, oh, she going to Howard. That's a huge name, right? And the reality that I had to deal with of feeling like a failure for having to come back home to California, if I would ever be able to see the friends that I made there again, right? Their lives would continue, and it felt like mine had come to a halt and stopped, right? We also find ourselves when we go to college. It was an opportunity for me to go to a new place where people knew nothing about me, and I feel like I stepped into my authentic self and was truly who I was really happy in DC. It felt good to be me, aside from my past or who people knew me to be or my family, just for me, who I am, and exploring another part, of the country, to be from California to DC. So it was a grieving process. It was a lot of me having to look at myself and reflect on who am I outside of my academic worth. Because first semester I was like, all right, this is difficult, but if I focus on the grades, right, then I must be worth something. And I think I was tying my worth to academics for so long that failing, which is not something I was used to, that's not something I did. I got good grades all throughout high school, very high achieving. And it was just what am I worth now, right? Or what is life? There's so many other demands on you outside of school. I feel like high school is all right, I graduate this grade, or finish this grade, I know what's to come next year, another year of school, right? Kind of just riding through the motions, coasting, getting through. And I was just really unhappy. So life was lifing, definitely. I worked at Walmart for a little bit. I don't know if people know that. That's funny though. I actually I'm not going to say I liked it, but I like working with people. I like talking and interacting with people. So whoever came through my line, it was we having a conversation. I'm going to try to make this a pleasant part of your day and uplift you somehow and make the most of my shift, right? So yeah, a lot happened, and some of which I've shared parts of, some of which I haven't, but from facing battles with mental health issues, homelessness, a situation where I faced a brief period of incarceration. There were so many obstacles that I just struggled, and I felt like, wow, will I ever get my degree, right? Is that even in my cards? Is that possible? Is that feasible? And I know there were many people who doubted and wondered if I would ever get it too, right? Because there were times where I was so low, where I was just school, right? But I never gave up. I always went back to community college, whether it be LMC, Los Medanos College, Laney College, right? I was always seeking, and even if I could only take one class at a time, that's what I was doing. I was constantly building. And I want to say it's because my family instilled the importance of education in me, but it also was my desire. I feel like knowledge is power. I'm a naturally inquisitive person that enjoys learning. I do. I don't always feel like the school system is the best environment and that's conducive to that, because students oftentimes will try to memorize information or cram to get a letter grade, to pass a test, but not to really retain the information. And being a psych major, memory and how all of information is processed and stored is a whole nother topic. But I do enjoy learning, and I was that kid to always ask questions. Why? But why? So I feel like knowledge and information, it gives you the answers to that. I'm also the type who will be up late researching something that really interests me to find out more information. So yeah, that's just me, but I never gave up. And especially with the major of psychology, I talked to someone, they didn't know I was a psychology major, and they're like, why do people get degrees in that? Like, it's not useful. You can't do anything with it. And then I told her, she was like, oh, my bad. Because it didn't feel like school. Psychology applies to everyday life. It applies to people, the world around us. I moved around so much that I was fascinated with psychology because I was interested in our commonalities. What makes us the same? What makes us different? How has your life experiences and mine shaped me, and how do we interact together, right? I think we're so much more similar than people want to realize. Human beings, right? We're human. Like, that's some things are a part of the human experience, and we just don't talk about all of those things in every community. So it was fascinating to me. As I told you, I'm inquisitive. I'm trying to piece together, figure things out. It helped me better understand myself, my family, but the world around me. So yeah, I think some things are intuition and like energy based, and you just pick up on them, but having the words and the tools for things. I remember when I took my first psychology class at Howard, Foundations of Psychology. I want to say it was with Dr. Carr. I hope I'm remembering correctly. And he was telling us the different fields of psychology we can go into, and he spoke of consumer psychology, which appealed to me because I was like, wow, like I was torn between psychology and business major, or like communications, marketing, something like that. And consumer psychology has to do with looking at why people buy things, right? What drives people to buy things, and working with sales and marketing and psychology to reach your target audience to boost sales, right? So I was interested in that, and I was like, okay, it sounds interesting. To me, I was like, it sounds like a creative process to be able to work on a team and tell them what to include in advertisements and have that creative freedom, but then not actually having to do the, digital part of it or the artistic part of it as far as really bringing that image to life, right? So I was thinking kind of like, if you've seen Blackish, the father's role, how he works on the marketing team, that's what I thought I wanted to go with for a while. And as I continued my journey, and then even after graduating, I realized, how is this helping people? If I'm telling people you need to buy this and making them feel inadequate or like they're not enough without this product to get sales, to get money, how am I helping people unless I'm doing marketing for a nonprofit or a product that improves our daily lives, right? Or promotes health and well-being. So I have 2 years prior of social work experience. I was a community navigator through an AmeriCorps program, and I was working with youth 18 to 35 who were currently and formerly incarcerated. I had some boys who were in DJJ, which used to be Youth Authority, YA, on my caseload, who I met on Zoom with through video chat. And then I eventually had a caseload of youth at the San Leandro Ashland Youth Center, and some of those participants I still talk to today, and they're like, little sisters, family members, things like that at this point, because we're so close and we've stayed in touch. But yeah, I've had that experience even with going through my own battles and journeys with mental health. And I think post-pandemic, I had social anxiety, which is not something I grew up with having. Very sociable, could talk and have a conversation with anybody, but a lot of life experiences and the pandemic, it changed things. So I had to relearn how to be in the present moment, how to have a conversation, how to not have anxiety and plan things out before, talking with someone or just being in the moment. It was so much anxiety, right? And I think that even me experiencing that gives me more compassion now for people who that is their baseline, or they've grown up with that, or they have that currently, because I can peep when someone's feeling anxious in an interaction, right? So it just gives me so much more appreciation for being able to connect. I've always said that I feel like one of our sole purposes here on this planet is to connect with others, right? Money, wealth, new cars, all these things, right? The materialistic things, that means nothing if you don't have quality, solid relationships. If you can't connect with another person, because we need each other as much as we don't want to think so, or I'm independent, I got this, right? I'm very hyper independent. I do everything on my own. I got me. And I'm learning, to allow myself to receive the help when it's present, right? And yeah, it's balance. It's all a balancing act. I actually got a congrats grad card. This is from CJL, the people who I had the internship with as a reentry navigator. I thought that was so sweet. Things like that make me so happy. Give people their flowers while they're here and celebrate them. Especially because right now AmeriCorps is getting defunded. So it's such a tricky time, right? Where you have to make space to celebrate things and also acknowledge that the world is changing, and a lot of funding and things are getting cut that benefit the well-being, that benefit, they like to say the minority, but it's really the global majority. If you look at the demographics of what the US is made up of, right? So yeah, whole nother little tangent, but equally as important. But yeah, throughout times of staying persistent and taking community college courses, I finally in 2022 got my associate's degrees. I got 2 associate's degrees. I got a degree in behavioral and social science, liberal arts, and a degree in psychology for transfer. So I applied to a bunch of different universities for transferring. I thought maybe I'll go back to an HBCU and continue that journey, but I had a fear. I was like, what if I go out of state again and I fail and have to come back home? That was a hard hit for me. That stayed with me for many years. When I tell you I replayed and reminisced and ruminated on my times from Howard and all the fun that I had, but also the hard times, but like even the person that I was at Howard, right? For years, I couldn't move on or let it go. And now I just know it was a part of the journey, right? And I've built up my sense of self and my worth outside of academics, but also to trust and know that everything happens for a reason, right? So I applied for a couple schools, and I decided after touring a couple schools to go to Cal State East Bay. So California State University East Bay in Hayward was an amazing school, beautiful campus. It allowed me to get my degree in 2 years. My last semester of undergrad, I was like, let me look into studying abroad. They mentioned it at the transfer orientation, but I didn't look into it until my second to last semester. So maybe like September of 2023. And I found out from, their study abroad program, shout out to Kelly. She told me, yeah, there are some opportunities. And I looked through a few and I was like, Ghana. I want to go to Ghana. So I applied, and it was a lot of back-to-back fees and payments. Oop, get your group ticket. Oop, if you want to, apply, you got to pay this much. If you're going to accept, you got to pay this much. It was a lot. I was scared. I was like, is this something I really want to do? Do I go to Ghana, finish my last semester there, pray I pass my classes and get my degree when I come back? Or do I just do my last semester here at East Bay, which, mind you, I think I only needed 2 classes or 3 classes. It would have been an easy semester. Look for work because my internship was ending. Look for work or another internship, graduate on time in May 2024, and go about my journey and start my career. But I was like, no, you know what? I think every Black person dreams of going to the motherland to get more connected with your roots. And I was afraid, but I was just like, I'm gonna make it work, And I'm so happy that I did. Ghana was life-changing. When I say the most peaceful place I've ever been, peace kind of feels, it's unfamiliar, right? You have to adjust. Everything moves so much slower. And I think it truly taught me that the greatest gift that we have is time. Time. The more resources that you have, and if you don't have to struggle to work every day or struggle to provide, you get time. You get time to move slowly, to move with ease, right? And time is the greatest gift, because that's when you can connect with others. When we went to Ghana, we were like complaining when we first got there. We were in a big group and we were like, dang, it's taken like 2 hours to get our food. I do think that was because the group is bigger, but it's also because they value sharing a meal with someone, eating over that meal, right? Talking as you eat, like really community and connecting with each other and not being so busy like it is in California or the US. And so it took an adjustment. I can be impatient. So I'm like, oh my God, like hurry up, not with the food, but like in every sense. And it's like, no, you got to slow down, get in tune with you. I will say I did pick up momentum and like got back in tune with my goals and things that I want to accomplish while I was there. But through multiple experiences, even going to Thailand for vacation, I was like, wow, like it really is a privilege to be able to move slowly and like be in a state of living and not surviving. Because when you move slowly, that's when you get to see the hummingbird fly past you and you get to stop and smell the flowers, right? Literally. That's when you get to see, just the beauty of the world, right? Watch a sunset or a sunrise. Make breakfast consciously, not be rushing, but actually make it and get to sing or listen to your affirmations or some music or hum and not be rushing to work. And the true gift is time. Time. And that's one thing we never get back, right? We take it for granted, right? We say it's the most valuable thing we have. Money is time, right? Time is money. But it's also the greatest gift we have. So all that to say, when I reflect on these past 9-10 years, I got my degree last year, but I started Howard in 2015. Sorry. I started Howard in 2015. That's when I graduated high school. And I think like I said, there were times I never thought I would get my degree or like that wasn't in the cards for me. Like, well, I tried, right? I even struggled to believe I could even ever be independent and fully take care of myself. And look at your girl doing it. So I'm proud of myself. I want to encourage anyone watching this, if you're in a situation where you're doubting if you can do it or if things will ever change or if you can be independent or if you can get that degree, know that you can do it. I'm living, walking, breathing proof. Reach out to me in the comments or anything. I'd love to have a conversation or encourage you further or just hear your stories and your struggles because life can change. Life can change. It may seem like it won't, and it may have looked very similar for years on end, but it doesn't mean that things can't change. We don't have control of life or the world around us. We have control over ourselves and the actions we take and what we do. So until you can get to that point, and I'm not even saying I'm at a point of arrival because I still struggle with things daily. I'm still trying to make it to certain places, right? And continue to grow and elevate. I'm still intentionally healing from my trauma and my past hurts, right? I'm just trying to be better than I was yesterday. But until you get to a place to where you can accomplish some of the goals you say you want to accomplish, sometimes it's about shifting your perspective, right? Gratitude is so important. That's a big one. Gratitude really is the key to happiness because there are people who have so much less than you right now who are happy. We say we want these accomplishments, but if you're doing a countdown, I used to do countdowns, or you're not happy until you get this accomplishment, then when that accomplishment comes, you'll be looking for the next thing and you'll never truly be happy. It won't make you happy for long. It'll be fleeting. So you have to appreciate where you're at currently to even be able to celebrate and appreciate that goal that you want when you get it. Life is a bunch of mountains, right? It's not the when you get to the top of the mountain, it's the journey, it's the climb. But as you start to keep going through life, you realize you climb up one mountain and you made it. Oh, there's another valley and mountain you have to go up through because there's another set of problems. Life is a bunch of issues, right? It's not going to be easy. There's always going to be a problem. You say you want to get somewhere, now you just have a whole nother set of things to navigate that you didn't know before because you weren't there, but it doesn't mean it's a breeze. So it's about, like I said in one of my poems, dancing with the wind. And it's also about gratitude, being grateful for what you have, having those things that ground you, those quality relationships, and living in the present moment. But yeah, it's a lot to navigate. And when people say, man, I wish I had more money, they say more money, more problems. More money, more problems. Those problems sound good. No, I'm not there yet. But Yeah, life is a journey. We're forever evolving, growing, or you should be, right? Some people get complacent and they stay there and they don't challenge yourself. Growth is outside of your comfort zone. This is your comfort zone. Growth is here. You got to be uncomfortable to grow, right? You got to do things differently. You got to let go of the fear of being cringe, if they still say that, or being embarrassed, because you're going to have to do things that are different from the norm to get different results. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. You got to do something different. You got to shake it up. Clearly what you're doing isn't working. And if it's working, why do you want to change it, right? So we have to look at our actions, the things we do. I feel like I'm going on a rant at this point, but thank you for watching. Congratulations to all the graduates out there who have gotten their degree in 2025 or who have gotten it in the previous years, right? You earned that. You deserve it. Let's keep being examples of Black excellence if you are Black, right? Whatever you identify with, be an example of excellence, period. We're in a time right now in the world where we need more educated people more than ever. And you can learn something from anybody. Don't think that a college degree is the only way to gain knowledge. There are so many other ways, right? There are a lot of issues and flaws with the educational system. So don't think, you have to have a degree to know a thing or two about life. That's not true. But the truth is that degree, that piece of paper, opens up more doors and opportunities for you to have seats at those tables. Unfortunately, because some people judge and think that with this degree, you're now more qualified, when that's not always the case. So I really just encourage you all to read, do research, educate yourself, seek knowledge, seek these things. If you don't know, that's okay. There's no stupid question, right? Make sure that you also check your source. Check where you're getting your information from. If someone says something, don't just believe it. Anything I've said in this video too, if there's something you question or doubt, you can ask me, where's your source? Where'd you get that from? Or research it yourself to say, is this the truth, right? You look online, Wikipedia. People can go in and edit a Wikipedia page. Wikipedia is not factual. That's not a good place to check for factual information. So checking your sources, even when you see stuff on social media and X, there's so much fake news, right? So being a critical thinker and saying, where is this information coming from? What could be their possible motive or hidden agenda? And is this fact? Is this based on fact, or is it based on emotion, or do they have an agenda? Is this true, right? As we know, if you're Black watching this, there's so many stories that have happened in the past that are told from the lens of another race that aren't actually truly depictive and a true narrative of what happened, right? So yeah, question things, seek knowledge. Knowledge is power. The more knowledge you have, the more doors it'll open. Always believe in yourself. There's nothing under the sun that you can't do. I don't care what anybody tells you. And half of getting there to whatever you want to do is believing in yourself. You have to believe in yourself when people tell you you can't do it, when people laugh at you, when people don't support you, when you're alone and you're the only one who sees your view, your goal, your dream, what you want to do. You have to believe in yourself and go hard to get there. The universe, God, whatever you want to say, gave you that vision, gave you that desire to accomplish something because you're supposed to accomplish it. And not everyone's going to see your vision. Not everyone's going to have the same desire or calling to do it as you are. And it wasn't meant for everybody to. It was meant for you to. So now, are you going to show up for yourself? Are you going to show up for yourself and really do the things you say you want to do? To live the lifestyle you say you want, to accomplish the things you want. And if you're struggling with working towards those things, remind yourself what's your why. Why are you doing those things? Why? Why does it matter? You want to lose weight? Why? Is it for other people? So maybe they could stop calling you all this? Is it because you want to be healthier? Say you want a new job. Why? Is it to have enough money to support yourself and your family? Is it to have food to eat, clothes on your back? You know, it's so many things we want to do. Why, right? If you know your why and your reasoning for why you want to accomplish and do something and keep that at the forefront, that'll keep you motivated. It'll keep you driven. It'll keep you going. You're going to be like, this is why I want to do it, right? And remind yourself of that constantly, because with something like school, you work, you get a paycheck every 2 weeks. Something like school, you're not getting paid every 2 weeks for it, right? You're going to get a letter grade. Oh, I got to do this assignment before 11:59. Okay, you get it in, you may get a grade or a few points. You got to keep going. We're used to instant gratification. We click on something, it loads, right? We buy something, it gives us that, instant short dopamine rush. And now we're like, I feel happy, right? If you use substances, right, it gets you that escape feeling, right, of that dopamine rush of, we're used to things quickly, right? A lot of us aren't patient, right? You got road rage, get out of my way, I'm trying to get here quickly. We want everything quick, fast, and in a hurry, but nothing easy, but nothing worth it comes easy. Nothing worth fighting for comes easy. Everything that you want requires hard work. You got to work hard for the things that you want. And know that it takes time, but you got to stay determined. You got to stay consistent. Determined. You have to always believe in yourself, be determined. Don't let anybody deter you. Don't let life's circumstances deter you. Life is going to happen. Life is going to go on no matter what, right? It's going to go on. Eventually, all of us will pass. We're not going to be here forever. So it's what you make of the years that you have while you're here and what matters to you and what your values are. So always believe in yourself. Go after your dreams, your goals. You deserve to accomplish everything you say you want to accomplish. And the only thing standing in the way between you getting there is you. I hope you found this inspiring. Thank you for watching and supporting. Like, comment, subscribe, follow me.